Perfect, thank you very much for joining me. Yes, this is MLS Ireland, where I'll be doing my predictions for week 24. We haven't got that long left, and there's many games to go. Let's go! Perfect, thank you very much for joining me. Yes, my name is Sean and you're watching MLS Ireland Does Predictions. If you're new to this, hit that subscribe button. I would like 300 by the end of the season. I doubt that I'll get it, but you know, it'll probably mean a lot to me if you did. And I have a wee Twitch kind of channel and all that kind of stuff where I do my midweeks. If you want to go over there and hit the wee follow button, that would mean a lot to me. I'm trying to get up to at least 50 by probably the end of the season. It's probably not too much to ask, but God knows. But as it is what it is. Last night there was MLS games. There's a couple of League Cup games too, where the two LA teams were playing Mexico teams. LA Galaxy won, LAFC didn't on penalties, which is how it goes. I don't think really many teams really. Don't think the two teams really took it too seriously. I think probably LA Galaxy as much as LAFC. But anyway, I digress. So I'm going to try and do my best not to be making another 17 bloody minute video. So I will crack on with the first one, which is Vancouver against Houston Dynamo. Vancouver, who are at the start of not a couple long ago, they kind of messed up a couple of my predictions when I kind of thought, oh yeah, they're going to lose it. No, they did all right. And then, they're probably going to do it. No, they did crap. So in the last 6 games, they only won the one, and that was against LAFC. You know, a game that you would suspect them to win. And then they got beat by Minnesota, got beaten by Minnesota, got drew against Cincinnati, Portland, beaten by Chicago Fire, and drew against Nashville. So, you know, it is how it goes, where you think it's Houston, you go, oh, okay, Houston's probably going to lose this game. No, they won. And then you think, you know, you catch my drift. Houston, who are 24, have lost their last 2 games against Philadelphia and Minnesota. When I say they got beat by Philadelphia, they got beat by Philadelphia. I think it was like 6-0 something. It was a tight game. I agree with that. It was a tight game. So they're coming up against the Vancouver team, who are probably in a bit of form. I'm going to go for a Vancouver 1-0 win. I know it's going to be on a game tomorrow night or whatever when you're watching this. Is on a Friday night, quite late. I won't really be watching it because I haven't really seen these two teams play that much this season, which is a bit of a shame, but it is how it is. The next one is Atlanta against Seattle. Now Seattle, who I would have thought after the Champions League they would kick on, start, you know, basically kicking on. They won last night, 2 nights ago. Last night for me. They beat Dallas 1-0, which was a pretty good result. They got beaten by LAFC. Okay, LAFC are still a very good team. And then they beat Colorado Rapids, but they got beaten by Chicago, Nashville and Portland before that. So them coming into this away from home into Atlanta, who have been awful this season. Their last home game was a 1-1 against Orlando. Beat Real Salt Lake, fine enough, but then they got beaten by Austin, so they're probably not great with teams above them. But Seattle are 12th, and 12th for a reason. Atlanta are scoring goals at home, so I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to Atlanta. I know this is probably a bit of a shock and a bit of a surprise one, because Seattle probably do have a better team, but I think Atlanta at home, they're starting to get a few players back. Seattle are still kind of out of the woods. When they're away from home, they're not in great shape. Like I said, out of the last 4, they lost 3 away from home. And Atlanta have a bit better home form than Seattle have away. So I'll go for 2-1. The next one is Charlotte against Chicago Fire. Chicago Fire now are surprising quite a few. In the last 6, they won 3 and drew 1, and that was against Atlanta. They won the drew. They beat Vancouver, pretty good result. Beat Seattle, very good result. Beat Toronto before they got their players, good result. But got beaten by Columbus Crew. But that's when they started to pick things up. And then they're coming up against the Charlotte team, who are phenomenally good at home, beating DC United 3-0. Granted, well, they have Wayne Rooney, that kind of new manager bounce. So saying that, Charlotte, like I said, very good home. Beat Nashville the last game before that at home 4-1, which is a pretty impressive result. So I'm going to go for like a 3-2. I know Chicago Fire are capable of scoring quite a few goals these times, but I think Charlotte at home are unstoppable. They're very good at home. So I'm going to go for like a 3-2. It's going to be a very fun game. I predict. That's how I roll. The next one is Montreal against Inter. Now, I did predict Inter to lose against San Jose Earthquakes a couple of nights ago because they're not great. Now they're coming up against the Montreal team who I predicted to win. And they did. They beat Columbus Crew 2-1. They drew against New York City, which is not a bad result, and beat DC United and beat Toronto before their upbeat new incumbents. But anyway, they're coming up against an Inter Miami team who are okay. I still don't. I'm still not sold on them, so I'm going for like a 1-0 win to Montreal. Montreal are where they are for a reason. They're good against teams like this where they're probably a wee bit too big for their boots, if that makes any sense, and Inter is way too big for their boots. The next one is Columbus Crew against New York City FC. Columbus Crew, I did say on Tuesday when I did it, I think. Columbus Crew did draw, win, draw, win, draw, win, draw, and that was all. After a draw, they're going to go for a win. They got beat by Montreal 2-1, so not a bit of a mistake. It was kind of just a bit of a stupid prediction, but again, at home they were a very good record. But Montreal actually are surprisingly good. So they're at home again, fourth game in a row at home. They're coming up against the New York City FC team, who are fourth in the league, having lost a game in the last 6, which is pretty impressive. This is in being MLS. Drew against Montreal 0-0 last weekend there, and beat Inter, New York Rebel, Dallas, and New England, and drew against Atlanta. So they are coming into this one quite well. Columbus Crew got beaten by Montreal 2-1. So when you try to put these things two together, it's hard to know. You know what? I did have 1-0, but I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to New York City SC, just because they are a very good team. They still have quite a few good players. Granted, I know they still own one, but they lent them to a team. You know, why would you lend your best player? Anyway, I probably get a lot of stick over on Twitter because of that, but anyway, it is MLS. The next one is DC United against New York Rebels. This is kind of a rivalry, an old rivalry. These two teams kind of back to days of when I was a teenager. So, you know, this is basically MLS. So, they're that old. DC United against New York Rebels. DC United, like I said, new manager bounce. They beat Orlando with Wayne Rooney's first game in the season. That was a 2-1 win. Then they got hammered by Charlotte. So this is their second home game against New York Rebels, who are, like I said, a bit of a rival to them. New York Rebels lost their last game against Colorado Rapids 3-1 up, and then got beaten 5-4, which isn't a great result for them, albeit they beat Austin 4-3 the week before that, and then the week before that they got beaten by New York City at home. So Red Bull are full of energy. Oh, that's a bad joke. It's not even a joke. I'm going to go for like a 2-1 win to New York Red Bulls, just because DC United are still dreadful. And they may have their home base behind them. That's probably where I'm getting the goal out of, but they're still not great. 2-1 to the Red Bulls. FC Cincinnati against Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia, who are unbeaten in the last 6, which is pretty impressive. They've beaten Houston 6-0. Pretty impressive. They beat Orlando 1-0. New England 2-1. Inter Miami 2-1. Beat DC United 7-0. And now they're coming up against an FC Cincinnati team who haven't won a game in the last 6. Drawing against Inter. Draw against Nashville, got beat by Columbus, drew Vancouver, drew Red Bull, drew New England. So they're scoring goals, so that's not the worst thing. But I'm going to go for like a Philadelphia 3-1 win. I think Philadelphia are just way too strong for Cincinnati. Cincinnati had the capabilities of scoring quite a few goals in this game, but the way Philadelphia now are starting to score goals and not conceding as many, it's going to be a 3-1 win. The next one is Orlando against New England Revolution. Orlando, they lost their last game against DC United. like I said, they got beaten by Philadelphia, like I said. Drew against Atlanta, drew against Colorado, beat Inter, but then got beat by DC United 5-3. So their home record isn't fantastic. Granted, when you come up against New England, who haven't won a game in the last 6, not a good look. Their away record has been atrocious, but they're coming up against the Orlando team, who still haven't really got Pato firing. Well, we all kind of knew he wasn't going to be scoring goals every other game, but anyway, it is how it is. I don't think he's really replaced Nani's, I take, but I'm going to go for like a 1-1 in this one. I think the two teams are probably well matched. Orlando probably should get this one over the line to be winning this one, but I don't even trust them either, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to go for that. The next one is Nashville against Toronto in Toronto's new look midfield. Nashville started the season, I kind of had high hopes for them. They haven't, well, they're 10th in the league, which is not too bad. They scored 30, conceded 30. Very Nashville, and you know, the old joke, the draw. But anyway, 30-30, so that's not too bad. But they're coming up against a Toronto team who are starting to play a bit better. They drew against New England, which wasn't a great result, but they beat Charlotte quite convincingly. But before that, they didn't have the players that they have now. So I'm going for like a 2-1 win to Toronto. I think Toronto, this is probably going to be a game where they kind of suits them. Small kind of compact player as Insigne, basically to get around the big defenders that they have. So we'll go for like a 2-1. The next one is Sporting Kansas City against LA Galaxy, who won last night. Pretty well done to them. Pretty well done. Sporting Kansas City, who are bottom, and bottom for a reason. They've conceded 42 this season and have only scored 19, so they're heavily reliant on Johnny Russell, which is unfortunate. And they're coming up against an LA Galaxy team who are just, I would say, great this season. They've been kind of a letdown. Got beaten by Dallas, beat Atlanta, got beaten by Colorado, San Jose Earthquakes, and LAFC, and then they beat Montreal 4-0, which is bonkers. I know Sporting Kansas City are at home. Their last 2 home games are at home as well, and they got beaten 2-0 convincingly in both of them. So I'm going to go for like a 1-0 win to LA Galaxy. I think after their wee win last night, LA Galaxy, they're probably going to be a bit more upbeaten and kind of more up for this game. So I'm going to go for like a 1-0 to Galaxy. Austin FC against San Jose Earthquakes. Don't know why I'm doing them in an English accent, but anyway, San Jose Earthquakes got beat by Inter, drew against Real Salt Lake, got beaten by Portland 2-1, but Houston 2-1, then beat Galaxy 3-2, you know, as they do, and then coming up against a very good team who actually lost a game in the last 6, and that was against New York Red Bulls in the 4-3, like I said, but beaten Sporting Kansas City 2-0 last week, yes. So they're coming up against the San Jose Earthquakes team who kind of let me down, getting beat by Inter. Thank you very much. So I'm going to go for like a 2-0 win, just out of spite. Anyway, Austin are a very good team. They're second for a reason. They're very, very good. Or sorry, the third overall for a very good reason. So yeah, I'm going to go for like a 2-0 win to Austin because they're very good. They have the most goals and the most everything. 72 goals this season, which is pretty impressive. And they're coming against the San Jose Earthquakes team who have let in 46. Cool. The next one is Colorado Rapids against Minnesota. Colorado now are starting to find a bit of form. Like I said, beating New York Red Bulls 5-4, which is pretty impressive. Got beaten by Seattle, okay. And then beaten LA Galaxy in the last 3 games, which isn't bad. So they're coming up against a Minnesota team who haven't lost a game in the last 6, which is pretty impressive. Drew against Portland 4-0, which is a mad game. Beaten Houston, beat DC United, drew against Sporting Kansas City, mental, obviously, and beat Vancouver and Real Salt Lake. So they're coming up against these 2 teams are probably a bit well matched, but I think because Colorado are at home, they're not looking too great at home, but they're coming into this game a wee bit more form. But I think Minnesota are a very good team and haven't lost a game, so I'm going to go for like a 1-0. A 1-0 is probably a fair result for the 2 of them because I think the 2 kind of cancel each other out in type of form and all kind of stuff. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, that one. So I'm going to stick with 1-1. The next one is Real Salt Lake against LAFC. LAFC haven't started Bale, which is a bit surprising. I don't know why. They're coming up against a Real Salt Lake team who are ninth. Started off the season okay, and then kind of snuck up the league and they came. I think they were fourth or fifth for a while there, but now they're down to ninth. Sorry for cracking the. They're coming up against the LA Galaxy team who have only lost to 1 in the last 6, and that was against Vancouver, which, yeah, MLS. So with Bale, hopefully, probably getting more minutes. I'm gonna go for like a 2-1 win. I think LAFC will probably get a good result in this one. Real Salt Lake may not even score a goal, but I think put even a bit of money on probably Gareth Bale scoring another one. So we're going for like a 2-1 win in that one. And the last one is Portland Timbers against FC Dallas. Dallas 7th in the league. Again, they started off the season quite well and then kind of fell off. But kind of got back into it with a 1-0 win with Real Salt Lake and at home against LA Galaxy. But they're coming up against the Portland Timbers team who haven't lost a game as well in the last 6. But they drew their last game, which was against Nashville 1-0. Drew against Minnesota, so they are scoring goals, but they are conceding ones. But I think I like Portland Timbers at this moment, so I'm going to go for like a 2-0 win because they're actually a pretty good team and they are capable of scoring goals. And the way that Dallas is, they're not scoring many, if that makes any sense, because in the last 6 games, they got beaten by Seattle 1-0, beat Galaxy 1-0, beat Real Salt Lake 1-0, drew against Austin 1-0, got beaten by New York City 1-0. So they're not big scoring games. So I'm going for like a 2-0 win to Portland Timbers. Perfect. I hope to God that is all, and hope to God to see you the next thing. And if you like this and you've gone as far, I doubt it, but anyway, if you have, hit the subscribe button, and I hope to see you on the next one. Peace out. Bye now.